Lots of questions about Ruben Amorim's reign at Manchester United after losing a 12th league game of the season at Tottenham on Sunday. I mean, the 12 points ahead of the bottom three. Can you really see them getting dragged into a relegation battle, though?
No, I can't, because as you mentioned, 12 points is a big buffer. But you look at the fixtures coming up, and you go, oh, Ipswich, and they've got Leicester in a few games, but you can't count on anything with United at the moment. That is the deeply worrying aspect of it all. I mean, Southampton the other week were the better side, really, but for Ahmad Diallo, they'd have probably won that match, you know, and Southampton are rock bottom and the worst team in the Premier League. So, I mean, worrying times, that goes without saying. And they just need a few steadying results. You know, they lose to a Spurs team that's, you know, have been all over the place, very leaky at the back, and they're full of doubts and worries. So, yeah, they've just got to try and dig in. But, you know, for Ruben Amorim now, he's boxed himself into a corner, hasn't he, with his statement about, I'm not going to change my system, that's the way I play. And I think now he will be kicking himself that he actually said that, having realised that he hasn't got the players. The players may be losing faith now with the system. And, you know, when they start wondering about the manager as well and the direction he's going, that's when things can really turn pear-shaped. So, you know, I don't think he'll go back on what he said. So that points to some more struggles in the future.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because a lot of times we say when managers have a system and they're rigid with it, it's often lauded and saying, well, that's the way I play and I've got a plan and I stick to it. But can it also be a weakness when you get into this kind of situation where clearly at the moment, three at the back is not working for Manchester United?
I think so, yeah. The best coaches are adaptable coaches. They go with what they've got. Rather than sticking to a set formula. Now, easy to forget, Amorim, he's relatively inexperienced. He's a young manager. And that's been shown up at the moment, I think, that inexperience. I go back again to my time at Arsenal when we got knocked out of the European Cup by Benfica one night and got exposed in midfield. And when we got into the Cup Winners' Cup a few years later, George Graham started playing 4-3-3. He played that three-man midfield because he thought we were a little bit light in there. And certainly United were light in midfield at Spurs at the weekend with Bruno Fernandes shuffling out to Jed Spencer. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I imagine they'll stick with him. Who knows what the hierarchy are thinking at the moment? But you would want to give him a couple of transfer windows. But then again, how much money will he have in those windows in order to right the wrongs? I mean, it's a fascinating episode going on now at Old Trafford.
You know, we can always talk about formations of Ruben Amorim, the way he's going to play, and people said he would change. Not once did I ever think Ruben Amorim would change formation. Whether he should, whether he shouldn't, he has become Manchester United manager because of the way he's played through his whole young managerial career with a back three, 4-3-3. That's it, ultimately. He's been successful, sporting, magnificent. But this is a different Manchester United team. Different players suit different formations. I don't see him ever changing, but I think there's moments that you have to adapt to whoever you're going to play. And if you haven't got the personnel to play in that way, I don't think you can do it. I played in a back three, Rob. Went to Hull City with Steve Bruce. You know, it can be very negative. It can be very defensive. But ultimately, on the flip side, it can also go, we will play with a back three and your wing backs are so high. Put the opposition on the back foot. But I just think at this moment in time for Manchester United, the players aren't to the level that we expect a Manchester United team to be. And I don't think he has the personnel to be able to play in this formation. Your wing backs have to be the fittest players on the pitch if you play in a back five or a back three, whichever way you want to look at it. They're up and down, attacking and defensive. They have to be better all over the pitch. I mean, they had chances against Spurs at the weekend. Garnacho had three big opportunities to score a goal. Højlund played there. If you don't score goals, you'll never win football matches. And there's moments in games that you have to take, and Manchester United didn't do that at the weekend.
And therefore, because you're saying he hasn't got the players for the system, and Jamie Redknapp speaking about maybe needing 7 or 8 players at the weekend, 2 days after Ruben Amorim was saying, look, we can't regenerate the squad if we're not in the Champions League. So there's a lot of pressure on the Europa League. But this is not something almost that you feel is going to be sorted by August and the first time United kick a ball in a new season.
It's definitely not, Rob. It's not a quick fix. We never thought it would be, or I certainly didn't anyway. With PSR being so influential at this moment, you can see the signs. People are scared. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you've got as an owner, can you go and spend it? And I think this is a major, major rebuild for Manchester United. They're at the bottom. They're as low as it can go for a team and a football club the size of it. To see them in 15th, I didn't ever expect to see this. And I thought there would be an improvement with Ruben Amorim. There hasn't. It's exactly the same as what it was with Erik ten Hag. He's going to need his time. They can't just keep sacking managers. It ultimately is a long process and a long way back to the top.
He's saying the right things to be the Manchester United manager?
Well, he's being forced into saying things that most Manchester United managers wouldn't even dream about. And they are so bad that right now, he can pretty much get away with anything.
And he's pushing it. I mean, he's so defeated and negative sounding. Surely you could be more positive.
But if he was trying to be anything other than telling the truth, we'd be on his back big time. Saying, I mean, show some respect. We know what we're looking at. Mm-hmm. This team's not good. So don't try and tell us how great they are when they're not. He's not doing that. So I actually don't have any problem with anything he's saying. I think he was dealt a bum hand, and there's nothing he can do with it. I mean, the question is Erik ten Hag sitting at home going, well, I wasn't that bad because he's worse than me? Or is Erik ten Hag thinking, I left him this rubbish? That would be the question. Is Erik ten Hag thinking this is partly my fault?
Is Amorim not bothered that Erik ten Hag did get more out of this team than he did?
I don't think Erik ten Hag comes into Amorim's mind, to be quite honest with you. I think the situation he finds himself in, every single day he's thinking about the next game and trying to figure out how can he get a win and how can he make it better. I think Ten Hag's the last thing on his mind.
But I think we can all agree, though, the fact that we're mentioning the name of Erik ten Hag this far into Ruben Amorim coming to Manchester United and suggesting that this team may have been better off with Erik ten Hag, that in itself is a big deal.
Yeah.
As bad as Manchester United have been, and they have been bad for a while, I never thought that we would actually be having or rehashing this conversation a couple of months later, saying they were getting more results with Erik ten Hag than they were with this guy. And I'll be the first one to say that Manchester United, yes, they were terrible under Ten Hag. We know that. But the fact that we're rehashing the conversation and his name is being recycled, it tells you how bad this team really have been. They're finding ways, new ways of being bad. And every week you're thinking, maybe not. And look, if we're sitting here miles and miles away from that training facility and we know full well that they're in a completely negative momentum spin, out of control spin, what do you think they're thinking in that locker room and in that training facility, in that coach's room? When he goes into a meeting with his coaches, Ruben Amorim, and he's looking at his assistants, and they're putting the plan together for the week as to how is it that they're going to go about getting a result next week. Do you think there's clarity there? Do you really think there is a plan in place that they feel they can truly execute? No. They're guessing just as we would be guessing in this sort of circumstances.
It's the emptiest feeling ever. Sitting in a dressing room before a game, sending your team out, praying you're going to get a result. Not thinking, if we do this, and if we do this, and if we do this, we're going to get a result. And if he's on his best form, and we keep it all nice and tight, and we do, that's not how you think. You're sending them out, and then you shut the door in the room. You go. Let's just hope we get it. Just give us a goal, will you? That's what they're doing behind closed doors.
We know he's not going to lose his job this year, but Mario, if things continue to go this bad, could he lose his credibility when we think about heading into next season?
Yeah, definitely. I think. Look, now one advantage he has. One of the key things is what Ali said. The players who are there are not his hand. You know, it's not like, okay, a couple of guys came in afterwards, but he is not the guy that literally, he must have come in and he wanted the job. We have to also remember, he wanted the job later and he got the job earlier. Okay, he got the job earlier because there was no, choice anymore in him, in the sense of like, you got to take it now and you got to fix it. But he knows now that he puts himself, I think he's even bigger surprised than what he had before. In the beginning, he was looking at it and thought like, okay, I come, I fresh them up, give them some confidence. But the confidence is so low in that team. Even if you watch them play, some of the things, you understand, you have to remember, before he came in, there was one of the kids, for example, in that team, Garnacho, was incredible. Look at him now. He looks lost. I don't see the kid that can hurt a defender, can dribble at him, takes him on, do the things that he normally likes. If I look, like Højlund, works really hard, but where are the goals going to come from? Sometimes I ask myself, let my striker work less so he has more energy to score for me. Those things are not at Man United. They're not dangerous. They don't create anything. So that's why I think they have a big problem. And he has a big problem because the longer he takes this on, even if he kicks in what you asked me about next season, if you don't fix it now, people are going to look at you. You're starting already 1-0 down the new season. You don't want